Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. And without a doubt, I got my guy, Greg Penniman, here with me. Greg, what's good, man?
Was good. We're so close. One day from Sunday. Week 4 is here. We got a really good Thursday night game. Actually, the Thursday night's been surprising us every week. Every time think I have a so-so matchup, it comes through. Washington Giants. This one, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, man. This game we thought it wouldn't be that great, but turns out being a competitive game here between the Bengals and the Jags. 24-21 was the final score. But let's get into these Thursday night takeaways, man. And I'm going to start here with James Robinson, man. That was my takeaway. I was really into James Robinson headed into this game. Obviously, the Carlos Hyde presence always makes you scared, but Carlos Hyde was a healthy and active ahead of this game, which once I saw that, I'm like, that's great news for James Robinson. He saw the bulk of this backfield work, had 17 carries, only added 2 targets, but still this game was a competitive game for most of it. And so I think James Robinson, if Carlos Hyde continues to be inactive, I think he can continue to be an RB2 for the rest of the way. You're on mute, Greg.
Getting those opportunities, definitely a great percentage of touches on Thursday. Loved it for him. Had 19, had 21 the week before. Just a huge ramp up from the first 2 weeks, so that's really good. I love James Robinson. We thought once ETN went out, this we'll be expecting, so I'm glad he's made it to this point.
Yeah, man. Greg, you got a Thursday night takeaway for the people?
Definitely got to go with Vishka. Vishka time is here. The moment DJ Shark went out, RIP to DJ Shark, in that ankle injury, Vishka was immediately involved in getting him to the touches we wanted. Screens, had an average yards per reception of 16.5. So 7 targets, almost had a 100-yard receiving day. So you gotta love that. With DJ Shark out, I think Vishka just jumps right up to flex value.
Yeah, definitely. We always talked about these 3 receivers and how they cannibalized each other in their production, and this offense wasn't even that really all that good for you to want to play all 3 of these guys. I think I referred to them as a poor man's Tampa Bay wide receiver trio, just a little farther down south in terms of Florida geography. But we have a situation here, like you said, DJ Shark is out. Visca, we've been huge fans of Visca since day one. Just haven't seen really the utilization from the coaches be what you would like to see. With DJ Shark going out, we saw him used down the field more, 52-yard reception in this one where, he turned the DB around and was able to make a nice catch adjusting down the field. Had 100 yards from scrimmage in this game, so that was good. Another takeaway I had, Jamar Chase, man, just continuing the dog, just continuing to, I know I faded him coming into the season because of all the preseason stuff. And I was like, hey, from a dynasty perspective, I'm still all in on Jamar Chase. But from a redraft perspective, I think it might be a little slow from the beginning, but he's been hot right out the gate. So, Jamar Chase is somebody that I think is going to continue to provide weekly production for you at the wide receiver spot.
Yeah, definitely him and Boyd. Obviously, when one of these guys are going to be out, I think the other 2 will thrive. When all 3 are back, though, it's still a little concern for me. Joe Burrow only threw it 32 times. They definitely want to get that attempts down to 30 to 25 to 30. So when they're all 3 back, one of them is going to suffer weekly.
No, definitely, and you know what? Boyd, 11 targets, 9 catches, 118 yards. He killed. It's just Jamar Chase is a big play machine. Like
Yeah. That man is a go route monster. I was saying during the game, like at least they give him at least 3 tries a game, and I love it. You gotta, with that speed and that size and that his go right, his go get it, that mentality. You gotta give him a chance.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that we haven't really seen him in a lot of yards after catch situations,
right,
and that's where he really excelled at LSU. He was a deep threat, but I referred to him so many times as just like a bull. Like, that was the best way I could describe him, because when he gets the ball in his hands, he's like a running back almost. He just
right.
His yards after catch, his physicality that he plays with is phenomenal. But like you said, the speed, the burst that he has. I mean, I watch Brian Baldy's breakdowns on Twitter every now and then, and he did one of Jamar Chase after the Thursday night game, and you could just see, like, Jamar Chase is running, Joe Burrow throws that ball, and when Joe Burrow throws that ball, Jamar Chase and the defender are like almost even, right? But once that ball is in the air, Jamar Chase just hits this second gear that only special players really have, and he tracks that ball. So, definitely in on Jamar Chase for us this season. I mean, this Bengals offense is good. I mean, we saw them in a little bit of a negative game script. Joe Burrow had to throw a season high 32 pass attempts. So, it's really what we're used to seeing. Joey B, Joey covers, as I like to call him. Did he cover in this game?
I mean, they won the game. Oh, they weren't. They were favored by more than 3. You're right. So they didn't. Yeah.
They didn't cover, but they won. So we'll take it.
They did win. Yes, sir. 3-1, Cincinnati Bengals.
3-1, the Cincinnati Bengals. Man, who would have thought that it would be a 3-horse race in the AFC North? I think we probably thought that, but we probably thought that it would be a different set of 3 teams. As we sit here ahead with the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cincinnati Bengals being in that 3.
We did know the worst quarterback in the division was Big Ben, though. That was a fact. It's still a fact.
that we definitely knew. I mean, look, I've been on this I'm not touching Big Ben thing for like 3 years, bro, because I have my own reasons. Like, dude's going to take up a roster spot. He breeds complacency at the quarterback position. Like, I don't want Big Ben anywhere near my rosters. But that's a conversation that we are having for another moment here. Greg, obviously, we broke down these 1 p.m. games in the game previews part 1. So if you are interested in those games, those 1 p.m. games, you want to listen to the fantasy analysis or our betting analysis, whether we think you should take the over, the under, who's going to cover the spread, who might win this matchup, definitely go check that out. But today, it's all about those 4 p.m. games and those primetime games that we are covering. So obviously, it's part 2 previews, getting into our starts of the week, of course, and also get to play some Get Money, where Greg is now he's got a baby. We're 2 and he's 2. I'm 2-1. He's 1-2. So we gotta figure this thing out here. It's going to be a long season, 17 weeks. 18. How many weeks?
We'll be 18 weeks. Yep.
So we could potentially end in a tie. That's no good.
That is, yeah. We have to just do a playoff week, if anything.
There we go. All right, let's jump into these 4 p.m. matchups, man. With the first 4 p.m. matchup, the 3-0 Arizona Cardinals traveling to LA to take on the 3-0 LA Rams. This is a 54.5-point total here. The Rams are 4.5-point favorites. In terms of injuries, Arizona's okay for the most part. Darrell Henderson, questionable with the rib injury. Seems like he was a limited participant. So curious to see if he will play in this game. But Greg, what is your take on this matchup here?
I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover, but I'm going to take the Rams to win. This Rams team is just good. They know how to win. Getting that huge win against Tampa last week, I think they continue the undefeated momentum here. On Arizona's side, though, Kyler Murray, he's matchup-proof QB1. You love to see probably the most interesting matchup this weekend. D-Hop going to see a lot of Jalen Ramsey. They talk a lot of smack. Hopkins usually does have decent days somewhat, but he still thinks C. Hopkins is a top 24 play. Chase Edmonds thinks a PPR, RB3 in this matchup. The pace favors him, so he'll probably be involved in 2-minute drills and just getting a lot of receptions. Christian Kirk, I like him as a low-end flex play. Probably the preferable complementary receiver right now based off playing time and usage. And James Conner's a touchdown dependent RB3. If he's not getting those touchdowns at the red zone, at the goal line, he's probably not going to have a good day. On the Rams side, Stafford, QB1 play. Darrell Henderson is expected to be back, so that's good. He got a lot of dominance of touches in the first 2 weeks. Sony Michel did play inefficient when he was a starter, only 3.3 yards per carry. So that's good news for Henderson managers. I think he should go back to getting a lot of the opportunity share as a strong RB2 play. And Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Cooper Kupp, of course, top 5 play. Robert Woods, strong wide receiver 2 play. I think Van Jefferson does have some intrigue in this matchup as a deeper league dart play.
Yeah, I'm with you on the game. I'm taking the over, Arizona to cover, the Rams to win. This is going to be a good game here in the NFC West matchup. You got 2 undefeated teams. This is going to be, the NFC best, I think some people call it. So, this division is tough. So curious to see how these 2 teams that have been playing really good football, how they match up together. In terms of the fantasy stuff, I'm going to Kyler, obviously, he's a QB1. He can get it done with his arms, his legs. So you're never going to fade Kyler, obviously, in redraft. And maybe from a DFS perspective, that's a different conversation, but whatever. DeAndre Hopkins has, lower end wide receiver 1 upside in this one. He's DeAndre Hopkins, so obviously you're going to put him in your lineup. But, if he finished outside the top 20, I wouldn't be surprised, in a tough matchup with Jalen Ramsey. I am going to downgrade the auxiliary options in terms of the passing game a little bit, but I'm intrigued by some of them. Obviously, this is going to be a high-scoring game, so, you can't fade everybody, right? Like, somebody's going to make some plays. If Kyler's going to make plays, somebody's going to make some plays. So whether it's Christian Kirk or Rondale Moore, AJ Green even, who will be involved, I probably would take Christian Kirk's been really productive, really consistent.
Yes.
So maybe you take your shot on him. In terms of the running backs, like you said, James Conner, touchdown dependent, RB3, RB4. Especially this game script isn't necessarily great for him. And then, Chase Edmonds, like you said, I think he's got that RB3 with RB2 upside potentially, especially, as a pass catcher in PPR leagues. And then on the Rams side, Stafford, he's a lower end QB1. Cooper Kupp, he's the top option at wide receiver, like he's been every week. Robert Woods, some people are down on Woods. Target share is still there. He's not seeing the target share Cooper Kupp is seeing, of course, but he's still seeing some semblance of volume in this offense. So I think you can still play him as a wide receiver 2 in this matchup here. If Henderson plays, he's probably like a lower tier 3 for me, but it's going to be tough, man, with Henderson recovering from this injury. Henderson's been a guy that's been banged up before, and rib injury is more like a pain tolerance thing. So, like, I don't know if I don't know if I'm going to take my shot on Henderson right out the gate.
Just Sony Michel's is not good.
No, Sony Michel is not great, but the matchup last week wasn't great either, right? True. Against Tampa Bay. So I think this matchup should be a little bit better. He could have an opportunity to score a touchdown. So if Henderson's out, I probably could take a shot on Sony Michel as like as a RB3 or a low end flex option. But if Henderson plays, I'm probably going to avoid this backfield altogether.
Gotcha.
Let's move on to this next matchup. 4:25 p.m. We've got the 1-2 Seattle Seahawks traveling to San Fran to take on the 2-1 San Francisco 49ers. Well, actually, it's Santa Clara, not San Fran, but who cares either way? 52.5 point total. The Niners are 3-point favorites. In terms of the injuries, George Kittle is questionable for this game for the 49ers. He's got a calf injury. Kyle Shanahan said that he's got no guarantee that Kittle is going to play. So he said that the Niners should have a better idea by Saturday, which is today. So definitely keep an eye out on that. Elijah Mitchell, he's questionable, could be available to play, but it's more of a pain tolerance issue with him. And then Josh Norman, he's doubtful at cornerback. Quan Williams, also, he's out with a calf injury. And then for Seattle, Tyler Lockett is dealing with a hip injury, so he was a DNP earlier in the week. But now it seems like he had to go. He actually seems like he got a full practice in on Friday. So Pete Carroll sounded optimistic, wait, Pete Carroll optimistic? I wouldn't believe that. That's crazy. About an injury? Never heard that a day in my life. But seems like he's ready to play on Sunday. I don't know about Tyler Lockett, man, because we'll get into it. We'll get into the matchup right now because I'm up. So I'm taking the under, taking San Fran to cover, taking San Fran to win. Very much in on the San Fran offense here. Pretty much, everybody from Debo to Ayuk. If Kittle can play, I'm in on Kittle. But if he can't, I think that's more of a bump for guys like Debo and Ayuk. And whoever the starting running back is, I had thoughts that it would be Elijah Mitchell. It's funny because Trey Sermon was drafted ahead of Elijah Mitchell. I think he was in the 3rd round. Elijah Mitchell was a 6th round pick. But this seems like the 49ers seem to favor Elijah Mitchell. So I think draft capital went out the window already for these two guys.
Yeah.
So if Mitchell goes, I think it's Mitchell, because he started out the season as a starter, but and Trey Sermon wasn't that great the week before, so it's not like he wasn't bad either, but he just didn't do anything special. And we saw Elijah Mitchell get consecutive games of 19 and 17 carries. So if he plays, I'm probably more in on Mitchell. This is a really good matchup for running backs. Jimmy G, he's definitely in play, but again, the Trey Lance is just sitting there waiting in the wings. So the risk that's there with that. And then for the Seattle side, Chris Carson, he's in another really good spot here. Russell Wilson and DK Metcalf are probably the only parts of this pass game I really want to play, because Tyler Lockett playing after an injury has never really been. It's not like he's put up complete zeros the week after dealing with an injury, in which you're like, oh, is Tyler Lockett gonna play? And then he plays, and it's a dud. So I'm not all that in on Tyler Lockett this week. I mean, if you're playing a redraft, you kind of have to play him. But if you have a better option, I don't know how you could have a better option in week 4 than Tyler Lockett, unless you have like Cooper Kupp or something like that. Because Tyler Lockett,
unless you're like stacked at receiver,
right. But Tyler Lockett's been really good, so it'd be tough. But I've been burned by Tyler Lockett playing after an injury for so many times that I just don't think I could do it this time. Greg, where are you with this matchup?
I'm gonna take the over. I'm taking San Fran to cover though, and San Fran to win the game. On Seattle side, Russell Wilson low in QB1. Hopefully, bounce back and get a strong performance this week. Chris Carson, great RB2 play. I think with a high RB1 upside. Not concerned about the health. But having Alex Collins as a person in the backfield, FER Carson manager, it wouldn't hurt. Just because Carson's dealt with injuries probably every year, just one of little things here and there. DK Metcalf is in a prime spot here. I'm gonna defer to you on the Lockett analysis. I do like his matchup. So if he's able to play, I think he's able to be healthy and produce. I think he can do it. But definitely DK this is his matchup here. On San Fran side, Jimmy G, definitely a solid 2 QB option. Trey Lance is the Halloween season, spooky season's here, so Trey Lance is just roaming over him like the Grim Reaper anytime, any game. But I still think Jimmy G's a good option. Whoever's starting at that running back is really hard to predict. But Trey Sermon did play well in his opportunities last week. Elijah Mitchell, if he's going to play, I think I would also defer to him. Seattle is the worst team in fantasy versus running backs in PPR leagues. They're giving up almost 10 receptions a game to that running back position, so that's really bad. Deebo Samuel, great spot here, and I think this is the spot for Ayuk, man. This is the blow up game, yo. I think this is it. This is an excellent matchup for him. The targets everything's trending up for him. I think this is the especially if Kittle's not going. It's definitely the blow spot, but I think he's going to produce a top 20 week.
Oh, start of the week type week for Ayuk.
I think he's got a little like that's an honorable mention, A little.
Okay. I really wanted to do it really bad.
Yeah.
I think once I see we'll move on because I could make this an Ayuk show. I could. So Let's move on to this next matchup, man. We got the 3-0 Denver Broncos staying at home to take on the 2-1 Baltimore Ravens. This game is super intriguing. 44.5-point total. The Denver Broncos are 1-point favorites. It's basically a pick 'em. In terms of injuries, Rashad Bateman, Shoddy B, not on the injury report. So
it depends if they want to activate him or not. They still have to activate him.
He has not been activated yet.
Yep.
But he's not on the injury report.
In the history of this, they usually wait a little week, and then activate him the next week. But,
I don't know, man.
You don't know.
Coy.
That's true. After Marquise, dropped those passes, they probably activated him right then and there.
They're like, is he going to be active, Denver? We don't know. He's still on injured reserve, but he's not on the injury report.
So you got to need him for this defense. That's be a defense to have him for sure.
Definitely, man. So excited to see if he can play, man. And I'm be excited. I can't wait to activate him on all my dynasty rosters. I got so much Shoddy B, man. It's crazy. But Lamar Jackson has been dealing with this back hip. I don't know. Stop flipping in the end zone, bro. That's all I know. But he's dealing with that. He was in and out of practice all week. Seems like he's questionable to play in this one. So, return to a full practice on Friday, so that's obviously good news. Offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, sorry. He's out of this game with an injury. And then on the Denver side, Melvin Gordon, which this was interesting, is a limited participant in practice. He has been this week earlier. Well, yeah, he's questionable in this game, but was limited with ribs and a lower leg injury. So definitely something to note there if you are, a Melvin Gordon manager or a Javonte Williams manager. But, Greg, where are you at with this matchup here?
I'm also going to take the over. I'm going to take the Ravens to cover. I'm going to take the Ravens to win. I'm a believer in the Ravens winning important big games now. Like, they've done it two times already with that Chiefs win. Even like last one was, even with their backs against the wall, they still found a way to win. Lamar should also have shoulders on the injury report because he's literally carrying his team right now. But Lamar Jackson, top 5 option, QB position, leading passing guy here, also leading rushing guy, got 250 rushing yards as well in the year so far, 2 touchdowns. So yeah, you're playing Lamar no matter what. If they activate Bateman, I'm still, you want to activate him. You want to see what he does, his usage and stuff. You're not going to start him, but Marquise Brown, he's still getting great usage. He's still getting good opportunities. So I would still start him as a wide receiver 3 flex option with some wide receiver 2 upside. Mark Andrews blew up last week finally, so you're starting him as a top 5 tight end option. And for the running game, that's tough. Last week they all really didn't do much. Lamar is the main rusher in this offense. Tyson had a good first 2 weeks, but didn't do so well last week. If I'm going to choose one, it's still going to be Tyson, but I don't know if I could start any of them right now. On the other side, on Denver side, Teddy 2 Glove, I think is a lower end, high end QB2 option. I think you can play him definitely in 2 quarterback leagues. You're playing him. He's been off to a great year so far, getting high passing volume. Got 95 passing attempts on the year, so that's good. If Melvin Gordon can't go, definitely a huge bump for Javonte Williams. And giving me, I think, some strong RB2 upside. If he can go, I think they're both still where they're at. They've both been productive together this year. So they're RB3 flex options. Cortland Sutton, think he's going to continue to, didn't really need, that was the Jets week, but I think Cortland Sutton is back and then think he's, going to do fine as a wide receiver 2 option. And yeah, Noah Fant, prime spot here, super prime spot.
Yeah, man, I don't know what it is, Greg. Me and you are like on the same wavelength with all these games in terms of the picks, but I'm going with the over here, taking Baltimore to cover, Baltimore to win. Lamar definitely faces a tough matchup versus Denver, but it's Lamar. So
it's Lamar, man. It's Lamar.
Like you said, he's carrying a team on his shoulders. Just strap him up, bro. Run that ball, tote that rock.
Yep.
and throw that thing, man. So Lamar definitely in QB1 territory, even in a tough matchup versus Denver. Marquise Brown and Mark Andrews are the only other pieces that I'm really all that interested in, man. I like the Baltimore running back situation is less than ideal.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray's led this team in carries 2 out of the last 3 weeks. He's led them. He led them in opportunities last week by 1. Tyson Williams does get the receptions, but I feel like when they get down there by the goal line, Latavius Murray is he's really becoming that hammer for them in short yardage situations, and I think it's going to be in goal line situations as well. So yeah, I'm really gonna stay away from it until really one of these guys. I don't know if we'll ever see one of these guys take it over because, all of these. None of these guys were expected to be the guy, right? Like first it was J.K., then it was like, okay, well we know Gus, we can rock with Gus, and then you end up bringing Latavius Murray in, Lev Bell, Devontae Freeman. I mean, in 2007, 2009, this would have been a really good backfield, but it's 2021. We're not there at that point right now. So, I think that, Latavius, I'm staying away from this backfield.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And then on the Denver side, I agree with you. If Melvin Gordon doesn't play, I think there's some really, really nice RB2 upside here for Javonte. Cortland Sutton Death, as I like to call him sometimes. This dude, I'm ready to rock with him this week, man, as one of the top options at the wide receiver spot, as well as Noah Fant, who should see some more increased work and a good matchup here. And then that makes Teddy Two Gloves viable, man. He's been a really solid quarterback all year, especially in 2 quarterback leagues. He's been a godsend from the fantasy gods. So if you were picking him up off waivers or you drafted him with your last pick, nobody wanted Teddy Bridgewater. So kudos to you for shoring up that spot on your team. Otherwise, go ahead.
Can't keep sleeping on Tim Patrick. Definitely always gonna be. Tim Patrick. I think he's reached up from that deep league guy. He's can be considered in all formats for flex consideration.
No, definitely. Tim Patrick is he's got to be in consideration for sure, especially with no KJ Hamler, no Jerry Jeudy. So definitely looking at Tim Patrick as a flex option here. But otherwise, I'm just excited for good football, man. This should be a good game.
Oh yeah.
We got an undefeated Broncos team who, by the way, they're undefeated against teams that are combined 0-10. So between the Giants, the Jags, who played again on Thursday, and then the New York Jets. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, I'm excited to see the game. I'm excited to see if Denver is going to be for real in this one, which I think they will be. So let's move on to this next matchup. The 1-2 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Lambeau to take on the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. This game is so boring on the Pittsburgh side. It's making Greg yawn right now. We got the 1-2 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Lambeau to take on the 2-1 Green Bay Packers. 45.5 point total. The Green Bay Packers are 1-point favorites. There is going to be some rain in this game. In terms of injuries, A.J. Dillon, limited participant with a back injury. Aaron Jones, he was questionable with an ankle. MVS, he's questionable with a hamstring. It was a DNP throughout the week. So he's out of this game. He's on injured reserve. How quickly that changed. So MVS on injured reserve. The Devontae Adams show continues.
Crazy. He finally came through, and then he just gets IR, yo. That's crazy, yo. He completed his life mission, and then when he's out.
Your mission has been completed.
Where you can go now.
On the Pittsburgh side, Chase Claypool seems to be – he was a limited participant earlier in the week with a hamstring injury. He did not practice on Friday. That's usually not good when you get the midweek downgrade. So he's questionable for the game against Pittsburgh. Deontay Johnson is back. So, it's wheels up for him. And then Juju is dealing with a rib injury, but he's not on the injury report either. in terms of this game here, taking the under, taking the Packers to cover. I don't know how this is a 1-point spread. Like who in their mind thought that Pittsburgh could, like,
bruh.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Taking the under. I'm taking Green Bay to cover. I'm taking Green Bay to win. For Green Bay, Vontae Adams.
Yes, sir.
Aaron Jones could be limited, and we know what Green Bay does in these situations when Aaron Jones is or one of their star players is dealing with an injury. They like to manage it a little bit, so be mindful of that, specifically in like DFS land. He's not on the final injury report. Neither one of these guys are between AJ Dillon and him, but just keep that in mind. Aaron Rodgers, a QB1 option. On the Pittsburgh side, Najee Harris is a top running back, a top RB1 option this week. Deontay seems to be healthy this week, so I'm going with him. And then if Claypool plays, I'm into Claypool over Juju, but if he can't, then I'm not really into Claypool or I guess I'll be into Juju because he'll catch like 8 balls for 40 yards. So it's like 12 points in the PPR league.
It is.
I could be into Juju in that case, I guess, but very, very, very low floor play. Greg, what's you?
I'm taking the under. I'm taking Green Bay to cover and Green Bay to win for sure. On the Green Bay side, it's pretty easy. Rodgers, Devontae, and Aaron Jones. You hope that he gets that usage that he was getting in the last couple of weeks dealing with the injury. And on Pittsburgh side, not looking at Ben at all. Najee Harris for sure in a great matchup, and just the RB1 on last week getting 19 targets. He won't get that number again with Deontay being back, but just great PPR usage work. Deontay, target machine. He's going to get 10 if he plays. That's like you write it in at this point every time. And yeah, if Claypool can go, he's in that flex consideration like he is every week. I think, if I will want him to play. If he can't go, I'm going to start him. If he can't, Juju does get a little bump, but I wouldn't be happy about it.
Who's Ben? You said Ben.
Oh yeah,
Who's that guy?
The Big Ben in London, actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the London game's coming up.
Yeah.
Got
the London game coming up with the Jets. So
that's true. Yo, you going? Yo, you going to London? Yo?
No, I was trying to, man. I know we talked about it. I was trying to go to London with COVID and everything, and Europe. True. It's tough, but I'm out to St. Martin instead. So you catch your boy. Also, part of the reason. Well, haven't said that yet, but I'll be here Monday, but I'll be off the rest of the week celebrating the anniversary. So, not in London, in St. Martin.
Way warmer over there.
Way warmer.
Yeah.
Less miserable watching my Jets probably lose there. But we'll see. We'll talk about that next week. But this game right here, apparently it's like the biggest game of the year. So some people like NBC, like they set up their camp right outside of Gillette Stadium. Apparently Greg, did you know apparently there's something like really important happening in Massachusetts this week? Did you know about this?
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones didn't know about it because apparently he went the whole press conference without saying anything about Tom Brady. So, but yeah, something's happening huge this weekend.
Something huge. Oh, man. Oh, you said Tom Brady, right? So, that must be okay. That's what my notes say. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are traveling to New England. The 2-1 Tampa Bay Bucks traveling to New England on the 1-2 New England Patriots. Of course, this game is on primetime because NFL, they're trying to say, hey, NBA, move over. We're TV's biggest drama, right? So Sunday, 8:20 p.m., 49.5 point total. Don't know how the spread is even this close, but the Bucks are 7-point favorites. I feel like it should be like 13.5.
Ooh, that's one of those. Oh, man.
But that's just me. There's rain expected in this game. James White is out. Nick Folk, limited participant with a knee. Gronk is doubtful with those ribs on Tampa Bay side. JPP, he's questionable actually now. He was doubtful to start the week, but he's now questionable with that shoulder injury. Giovanni Bernard, he's out. Jamel Dean also out. Jamel Dean plays cornerback. Greg
he's cooked anyway, it's okay.
Yeah. He's probably out with a hurt ego.
Yeah.
So, Greg, where are you at with this matchup, man?
I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take Tampa to cover. I'm going to take Tampa to win. Yeah, you're right. Even they set it up with they released the interview, the book, like all the stuff that came out between Belichick and Tom leading up to it. They're really hyping up this game right now. But on Tampa
What?
side, I'm picking Tom Brady as a QB1 option, lone QB1. Not trusting the running game in this one for Tampa, as you probably usually wouldn't be. With the receivers though, I'm loving that. Chris Godwin, especially without Gronk. He's probably the only tight end I'm looking at. So definitely Tom Brady's going to rely on these receivers in this one. Godwin in the short game, especially if it's raining. Evans, he's been so. I think the ranking is more Godwin than AB being back. You got to love that. Activate off the COVID-19 list. So I think he's in that wide receiver, low end wide receiver 2 consideration. And then Evans. And on the New England side, I mean, can't trust the rushing attack, especially without James White. Damian Harris, I think, is a low end RB2, just with the volume he's going to get. And I'm not really a fan of any of these players to start, really, honestly, other than Damian Harris.
Yeah, man. So I'm taking the over. Taking Tampa Bay to cover. I think Tampa Bay just rolls, man.
Really?
I really just think they roll. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
Nah. I think it's more favorable than they roll. Tom Brady's coming off a loss too. Nah,
Yo, like Tom Brady. I've said this before on this show, but he's probably the one player in the league where it's like he gets so up for a game, like
yeah.
This game means so much to him, man. And he's saying it doesn't, but it means so much to him, man. Like you gotta you gotta prove, like, remember after Deflategate, after Spygate, like Tom Brady he came out like hot, and like I feel like this is a similar thing here where it's like
got that Jordan mentality where he just makes up like craziness, like, and I take it personally,
like I'm gonna show you why you should have kept me, why you should have listened to me, give me all these weapons that I asked you for. Tom Brady's gonna go ham, bro. So like on the New England side, I'll start there. Mac Jones is an intriguing streaming option. He was almost stream of the week for me this week. Against this Tampa Bay defense is not very good here against the pass. And I think Mac Jones, for the first time all year, will be put in a situation where it's like, hey, kid, you have to throw the football. Like, and not talking about these dump offs. We're going to have to go down the field, because if we want to beat Tampa Bay, we got to score some points. And I'm not in. Damian Harris is going to he might get volume, but we've also seen New England say, granted it was Tom Brady, but they say, hey, we're not going to run the ball here because this team has a good run defense, so we're not even going to try to do that. Damian Harris, he obviously could get that volume, but I'm more curious to see who this pass down back is. Is it going to be J.J. Taylor? Is it going to be Brandon Bolden? Will it be Ramondre Stevenson? So curious to see who takes that James White role. But Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, they're the top options in the passing game for me this week, and I think I want to play them in a good matchup here. Tom Brady, top 5 option this week at the quarterback position. All the Bucs wide receivers are in play as wide receivers 2s that can be a wide receiver 1. Gronk not playing, which I'm upset, man, because it was like all this talk about Tom Brady. Like,
no, Gronk's return too.
Gronk's return too, man. It's for him. So, I was hoping to see 3 Gronk to Brady or Brady to Gronk touchdowns or something like that, but not going to see that this week with Gronk being most likely doubtful. But I think that's a bump maybe for Mike Evans, who could see some of these targets that Gronk was seeing in the middle of the field, and as a red zone option as well. So be on the lookout for that. But I'm with you. Chris Godwin, I think, should see a lot of the work. AB. Hey, it's a revenge game for AB.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Legendary one game. Scored 2 touchdowns in that Patriots game, too, from Tom Brady. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, there we go. So, all right. So, I'm going to ride that narrative. But, yeah, man, overall, I think, overall, this will be an interesting game that I will be watching. But,
I'm actually a little higher on Mike Evans, too, by the way. Mike Evans is actually a good option for sure.
Yeah, man. Let's move on to this next matchup, the last matchup of the week, Monday Night Football, 8:15 p.m. The 3-0 Las Vegas Raiders traveling to Los Angeles to take on the 2-1 LA Chargers. 52.5-point total. Chargers are 3.5-point favorites. Josh Jacobs returned to practice. And so it seems like all those people that ran out to get Peyton Barber, spend that fab, try to trade him to the Josh Jacobs manager, I guess, at this point. Keenan Allen, he's questionable for the Chargers with an ankle. Brian Bulaga, he's the offensive tackle for the Chargers. He's out. So he was placed on IR with a back injury. Derwin James was questionable to start the week. He's off the final injury report, so that's good news here. In terms of this game, these AFC West games are so weird.
Bro, the best West Coast is the best coast right now, yo. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
AFC West, like, they balling.
These games are so weird, man. So 52.5-point total, 3.5-point favorites. The Chargers are. I'm going to take the over.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to take the Raiders to cover. But we're going to take the Chargers to win.
Oh yeah. Yo, this is Herbert. This is the anniversary of Monday night. Herbert last year. This is the coming out game for Herbert. Monday night against the Saints, man. I'll never forget. Yo.
Yeah, you usually started the week.
Yep.
We're watching the game live while we were recording.
Yeah, Herbert was killing.
He was killing, man. Crazy. But in terms of this game here, for the Chargers, I think I'm going to do it, man. I'm calling them the Big Four. You got Eckler, Herbert, Keenan Allen, Williams. You're not seeing any one of those guys.
Nope.
Jared Cook is interesting, but like he's been interesting for like 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I'm tired of going to that well. You got to prove it to me at this point, Jared Cook. For the Raiders side, Derek Carr, Darren Waller, top options at their positions. Josh Jacobs in line to play. So it seems that if he does play, right, which he seems like he's in line to, this is a great matchup for him. So he's an RB1 option this week. Henry Ruggs, Hunter Renfrow, they're the pieces of this pass offense that you want that are not named Darren Waller, of course. Greg, where are you at with this matchup?
I'm with you. I'm taking the over, taking the Raiders to cover, and the Chargers to win. Verbatim for what you said on the Chargers side, the Big Four, they're all potential ones at their position. They're just money this year. I love it for them. That consistency especially for Mike Williams. And on the Raiders side, Derek Carr I think is in play here as a low-end QB1. Josh Jacobs, if he's back, you're starting him with that low-end RB1 value. And yeah, Darren Waller, target machine, monster, top 3 option, tight end position. Henry Renfrow's that safe PPR flex option. He's been just money this year as far as getting the targets. That poor man's Cole Beasley and Henry Ruggs. I think he's finally stepping up, getting down the field. So yeah, I like him as a wide receiver 3.
What about the greatest wide receiver of all time, and Brian Edwards?
Greatest training camp wide receiver of all time.
Oh,
Brian
my
Edwards.
bad. My bad.
Training camp's over, so he's reverted back to what he usually is. Until next training camp, where when
I love how it's a training camp legend and not even like a preseason legend. Like, have we ever seen Brian Edwards play good in a preseason game? Like, I don't even know.
I don't think
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah. But either way, this game should be fun. Hey, in the offseason, I had a bold prediction, for the 2021 season that the Chargers would boast 3 top 5 options, 1 at quarterback, 1 at running back, and 1 at wide receiver. Unfortunately for me, my wide receiver was Keenan Allen, but right now it's Mike Williams.
Oh, you don't have to tell people that. It's the wide receiver.
It's a wide receiver, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
But let's move on to these starts of the week, Greg.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, we're gonna switch it up, man. I'm gonna start this one this week. Quarterback start of the week. Starting with the quarterback position, of course. I'm going to go with Philadelphia quarterback, Jalen Hurts. This is one of those confident starts of the week, one of these bounce back starts of the week, even though the fantasy production has been good, but people might be afraid to start Hurts after what they watched on Monday Night Football last week, but I have confidence in the guy to make plays and make this game somewhat competitive. I have Hurts projected for the 11th highest touchdown rate on the week based on what he's done thus far this year and what Kansas City has allowed defensively. Hurts is the top 10. He's top 10 in fantasy points per drop back while he's sixth in total passing fantasy points per dropback, but he's sixth in total fantasy points per dropback, and faces a Kansas City defense that allows the most fantasy points per dropback to the quarterback position. This game has the highest total on the week at 54.5. Hurts is in a smash spot here. I'm all in on Jalen Hurts this week.
Yeah, definitely like that. Jalen Hurts, safe QB1 every week. I'm going to go with, I know he's my bust of the year at the QB position, and I know I've been pretty right on that, but I'm going to go with Matt Ryan going against this Washington football defense. Matt Ryan, QB 25 on the year, so that's not very good at all. He's outside even that 2 QB option. But this week, he's got the Washington football team, the worst team in fantasy against quarterback positions. They're giving up over 300 yards per game, 315 to be exact, and 2 touchdowns a game to the quarterback position. Matt Ryan is in a solid spot here, because he's not a leg guy. He's going to have to get his money on the passing touchdowns, and his receivers have money matchups in this one, along with Kyle Pitts as well, who got some momentum out in that last drive of the Giants game. Expecting that usage to go up. I like Matt Ryan here.
Nah, man, I like that one. We had an interesting conversation before off air about a comment I made, which we'll get into a little bit regarding this matchup here. But I like that one. My running back start of the week this week. Give me Cleveland running back Nick Chubb. Chubb is averaging nearly 17 touches a game, going up against a Minnesota defense. Cleveland is second in adjusted line yards. Adjusted line yards on offense, Football Outsiders metric, while Minnesota is third worst in adjusted line yards as a defense. That matchup is the top matchup of the week in favor of Cleveland. He's first of all running backs, Nick Chubb is, in forced missed tackles. He's second in 10-plus yard runs with 8. Nick Chubb is that dude, and he'll remind us of all of that this week. And what is a revenge game for head coach Kevin Stefanski, who cut his teeth as the offensive coordinator in Minnesota. So going to see some interesting gamesmanship in this one. But Greg, what do you got for a running back start of the week?
Yeah, besides the obvious that have good matchups, I'm gonna go with Chris Carson this week going against the 49ers defense. He's getting a good volume. He's getting about 15.3 touches per game. You like that? Got 3 touchdowns on the year, so they're definitely using him in the red zone at the goal line. And I think Seattle will be in a lot of positions where they're at that against a San Francisco team where they're not very good against the running back position, giving up almost 80 yards per game to the running back position, and also giving up a lot of receiving work, about 7 receptions a game. So hopefully you see Chris Carson's receiving work go up, because he's it's always been trending up throughout his career. You want that to be a little bit higher. So I think he'll get that.
Yeah, and especially with Tyler Lockett banged up, I think some of those receptions could definitely go his way.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the wide receiver position, man, and this is I'm calling my shot here, giving another guy a confidence boost. Buffalo wide receiver Stefan Diggs, 9th in the NFL in targets with 31. His ADOT is a little higher this year, and his catch rate is a bit lower than it was last year. But Josh Allen was cooking last week, and he's got a cake matchup against Houston. This should be a nice bounce back for Stefan Diggs. Light him up as a top 5 wide receiver option this week.
Yeah, like that. Diggs is, we talk about he was a good still buy low candidate. I think if your last chance probably to get him before he blows up. I'm gonna go with Calvin Ridley. I got Matt Ryan at the quarterback. I'm getting that stack. Calvin Ridley, his main guy, coming off 2 weeks. Going against Washington defense, coming off 2 straight weeks with double-digit targets, 10 in week 2, 11 in week 3. You gotta love that against, again, the Washington football team, whose defense has been pretty horrendous in the secondary this year. Second worst to the wide receiver position. Calvin Ridley is going to be the main guy with Kyle Pitts. I think he sets the tone in this easy matchup.
Yeah, man. It's funny. We talked about this conversation off air. I had a little miscalculation in one of my spreadsheets, which told me Calvin Ridley was not a great play this week. Luckily, we got that fixed, and I'm on board here. Calvin Ridley is a top wide receiver option this week. Moving on to the tight end spot, going with Denver tight end Noah Fant, going up against Baltimore. He's in a great spot here against a Baltimore defense that's allowed the most PPR points to tight ends. And now I get it. They've played the likes of Darren Waller and Travis Kelce and TJ Hawkinson, but Noah Fant should be a focal point of the offense here alongside Cortland Sutton. No Judy, no Hamler. That's more targets for Noah Fant. So start this man up.
Love that for sure. Noah Fant in a prime spot here, as I was saying. I'm gonna go with the bounce back week for our guy T.J. Hawkinson. You already know, going against the Chicago Bears defense. Only 2 targets last week and 2 receptions, but the first 2 weeks, 11 targets and then 9 targets. This is a monster for this team, one of the focal points in the receiving game for the Detroit Lions, other than DeAndre Swift. So he's going to have to be used. You know, he talked about how he was getting more attention. He's become the focal point for defenses, but I think Detroit will work on that, and he's going to get forced to get opportunities if Detroit wants to win.
Nah, man, I like that one for sure, bro. It's gonna be a good week for these starts of the week, man. I just feel it. I feel
Yes,
it
sir.
for sure. Greg, it's time for that time, man. Let's play some Get Money, man.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
And trying to think about this because I believe. Hold up, wait for it. I believe it's your pick.
Yes, yeah. Every time, yo. Every time.
I don't remember.
Crazy.
We had a way to remember.
I mean, I had the first pick in week 1, so I'll have odds, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So
wait, so you're saying it's my week?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Because I went ahead and, I think I took Cooper Kupp first last week or something.
Yep, that makes sense. All right, so then I'll start here. And let's go right out the gate, man. I want a nice and cheap option at this running back position. Just kind of help unlock some things. So I'm gonna go with Chuba Hubbard. 6,300.
Oh, gotta love
against
that.
Dallas.
Probably best value play right there in the week. Yeah,
he's the key that helps me unlock some things this week.
Word. So I'm gonna just go with the juice right away. I'm gonna spend the bread. Alvin Kamara, 9,000 as my RB1 going against this Giants defense. That's not good against running back position. That's the only thing the Saints really have. They're really gonna use him a lot.
Oh man, okay. That's the juice.
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna go with give me some Nick Chubb action, man. My running back start of the week, 8K. Just throw that in there, man.
I'm gonna go as my RB2. I'm going heavy running back. I got Najee Harris, 8,200. Spinning the bread, going against Green Bay, the RB1 last week. Going to continue to get usage. He still only has 1 touchdown on the year, so that's positive regression waiting to happen.
Ooh, okay. A wide receiver spot. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, 7,800, going up against Cleveland. I got to get a little game stack here. You know how I get down.
I'm going to go with, it's October, so I got to go with my man, Scary Terry. Spooky season is here. He's going against Atlanta in the same matchup. I got the starts of the week for Calvin Ridley, but Terry McLaurin was right there with him. Got Atlanta. Bad defense, 7,100. Lock it in.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with another game stack here. Playing the game within the game. Give me Odell Beckham, Jr. as my second wide receiver, 6,600.
I'm gonna go with. Let me just lock up Calvin Ridley now as my wide receiver, second wide receiver at 7,200. Getting that game stack. Yeah, I have Ridley, McLaurin just going back and forth against each other. Hopefully.
All right, man. Well, I'm on go with my tight end spot here because I know you and I probably have eyes for the same guy. So I'm gonna go with Noah Fant, 5,700.
Like it for sure. I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk as my third receiver, 5,700. I think this is the blow up game for him. Great value.
That hurt.
Yeah.
It wasn't in my lineup, but it just hurt. I'm gonna try to leverage some of your plays, and he's wide receiver eligible here. Talking about my guy Cordero Patterson, 6,000. Line him up as my third wide receiver.
I'm gonna go at the flex option. I'm gonna go to afford all these pieces. Chester Rogers, 5,100. Slide him in there. Yeah. Just put him in there.
For my defense, I'm going to go with the Tennessee Titans, 4,900, going up against the New York Jets. So they are, I think, the second most expensive defense on the week.
Yeah. I'm going to take Matt Ryan at quarterback. My quarterback start of the week, 6,700, very cheap, as he should be quarterback 25 on the year, but he's got this good matchup here against Washington.
I'm gonna go with Cortland Sutton in my flex as my last. I guess I'm going 4 wide receivers. Cordell Patterson's technically a running back, but because of time purposes, Cortland Sutton's going in my flex. So 6,300 for Cortland Sutton.
At tight end, I'm gonna go hitting that Atlanta game again. Kyle Pitts, 5,800. I like the momentum he's going to. He's number 4 pick. He's got to be used at some point.
I hope there's like 20 points in that game.
Yeah.
And all of them are scored by Cordell Patterson.
Hey, Taylor Heineke is your quarterback stream of the week, so this game is gonna be good.
Yeah, all right, my quarterback, I'm going with Kyler Murray, 8,200.
Like it. That's beast mode right there. And I'm gonna go, with the Bills defense, 5,000 going against Houston.
I'm kind of mad because like I had the money to go to Buffalo, but I didn't realize it. And so then I was like, I didn't realize it, and I was like, oh, Greg's probably gonna take Buffalo.
Oh, so yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to see who you were gonna take before I tried to swap it out. But all right, Greg, why don't you read off the lineup for the people real quick?
Got Matt Ryan at my quarterback. Quarterback started week at 6,700. Najee Harris, 8,200 at running back 1. Alvin Kamara, 9,000 at my RB2. Calvin Ridley in my first slot, 7,200. Terry McLaurin at 7,100. Brandon Ayuk at 5,700. Kyle Pitts at my tight end position at 5,800. Chester Rogers at 5,100 in my flex, and the Bills defense at 5,000 going against Houston.
Oh man, this is definitely going to be a good week for this, because this will be interesting. My quarterback is Kyler Murray, 8,200. Next at running back, Nick Chubb, 8,000. Chuba Hubbard, 6,300. Wide receivers, Justin Jefferson at 7,800. Odell Beckham Jr. at 6,600. Cordell Patterson at 6,000. I've got Cortland Sutton in my flex at 6,300. Noah Fant is my tight end at 5,700. And then Tennessee defense, 4,900.
Love it. Love it.
Bet you love yours more.
I do, because if that Washington Atlanta game fails, though, it's over for me. So I think scary Terry time, though. I love it.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. Well, this is always fun, right? We starts of the week, play some Get Money, broke down some games. So hopefully y'all put this information to action, and you go out there and crush it in your leagues this weekend. But we will catch y'all on Monday as we recap. Well, it'll be Monday for us, Tuesday for some of y'all, depending on when you listen. But we will catch y'all next week as we obviously recap the week that was in week 4. But until next time, y'all, have a good one. We love you. We appreciate you. And we are out of here. Peace.